Here we have river otter fur. River otter fur is very smooth and sleek, so it helps for them to move easily through the water, and it does not slow them down as bushy fur would do. But it's also very soft because they have lots of hairs coming out of each follicle. We have one hair coming out of each follicle. The river otter has multiple hairs coming out, hundreds of hairs coming out of each follicle, and that helps to keep them warm in the water, and it actually helps their fur underneath from getting wet, so their fur close to their skin actually stays dry all the time and keeps them nice and warm. And that thick fur also makes it very soft. And here is fur from a white-tailed deer like we have here in Pennsylvania, and their fur is very thick and quite coarse, so it helps to protect them when they're running through the woods and there's lots of jaggers and the brush that they will run through and squeeze themselves through, so it protects them from getting cuts and things in those wooded areas and jaggers and thorns and that sort of thing, but it also helps to keep them warm throughout the winter and when there's lots of strong winds. Here we have another very soft fur, and it's very thick and meant to keep this animal very warm. This is beaver fur, and you can kind of see that it is quite thick. Again, several hairs coming out of each follicle, and then they have some other softer fur that is underneath that helps to keep them warm and dry as well. So oftentimes they're moving about in very cold waters, so they need to keep warm, so this covering protects them from the cold water and when they come out of the water, the wind. Okay, so next we have a red fox. Red fox also have very soft fur to help keep them warm. Again, they are running through places where there's thorns and jaggers and things of that nature, so their fur is thick, and it also helps to protect their skin. You can notice that they have a nice long slender body. It also helps them to get into places when they're looking for food. They can squeeze in some tight spots and get things like toads and frogs and mice and those sorts of things. And here we have a leopard fur, and you'll notice the leopard's fur is very short. They don't have a lot of thick, long fur. Where they are is mostly warm, so they don't need all that extra heavy fur that would cause them to overheat. And also there's not lots of thick brush and fur and thick brush and thorns that would tear through them, so they don't need that thick protection as well. Leopards are very good at climbing trees. They're built to be very powerful with shorter legs, not long, slender legs like cheetahs, but short, powerful legs, so they can hide and pounce on things, and then once they capture them, they can carry them into trees. You'll notice that the spots on the leopard, are solid spots, or the spots we call those rosettes, and her rosettes are solid. If it were a jaguar, there would be, in the middle of these rosettes would be a dot, another tan dot inside of those. So leopards don't have dots in their spots, jaguars have dots in their spots. Okay, and the next thing that we have here is a tiger fur. So tigers do live where it can get extremely cold, and they have a pretty thick fur. It's still rather short. There's not a lot of length to it, but it's very warm fur. And you'll notice that on tigers, they have a lot of orange, and they have these black stripes. And that animal covering is actually camouflage for them. Where they often roam, they roam in tall grasses, and they'll roam early in the morning, later in the evening at dusk and dawn, where the sun is setting or the sun is rising, and it's kind of orange, and there's tall grasses, so those tall grasses form shadows. So they can sneak around looking for prey in those tall grasses, blending in with the orangish light of the sun and the dark shadows because of the sun's angles from those tall grasses. So if an animal is near them, they don't see a big blob that in the center of these tall grasses. It all kind of blends in. The light of the sun is broken by the grasses and the shadows, and the tiger then blends in and matches that with these markings, with these colors. Tigers are very big, powerful animals. And their motion is more of a pouncing, waiting for prey to come near them. Again, not like a cheetah that would try and chase down. They sneak attack, they hide and wait for an animal to come. So we're going to go up to his head here and take a look inside his mouth. So as you take a look there, you can see some very big canines, those big teeth for being able to eat meat and tear meat off. You also notice, if I get too close, or I get a little closer here, that he has a bumpy tongue. If you have a house cat, you'll notice that they also have a very bumpy tongue. And they use that when they're cleaning themselves. It's kind of like a brush, and it helps to clean out the dead hair and that sort of thing. But with a tiger, when they're eating other animals, it also helps to clean the fur off of the meat before they eat it. So they can lick that tongue across, and they can clean the meat, get the fur off of it before they eat it.